There's a wall. Stand with the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Invite Israel all over the prison. I would see approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Moved and second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion passed 7-0. Comments from the superintendent?
None.
I have no comments. Item F, consent agenda. Only thing I will say is they field trip earlier this year. Earlier, a lot earlier.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion passed 7-0. Levi, any comments?
No.
Facilities planning.
Hello. Tucker is joining us by Zoom.
Can you guys hear me?
That's right there. He's just not on camera. So Tucker and Ben Lewis from HTK, we're here today visiting with you three board members that are on that team, myself, Mr. White, and building administrators as well. He had visited with other staff earlier. He's going to tell you a little bit about the process, where they're at on things, what the next steps are. Tucker, you ready?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Barely. We
Barely.
can barely hear you.
Well, let's see if I do this. Is that better?
Not a lot.
It's up on as far as you can
We're
go.
up as far as we can go.
Let's try something here. Is that any better?
We'll make it work.
Okay. So I think Lonnie put in the board packet the sort of draft of where we're at today for the meeting. I think it's just important to let you guys know that with the switch out of the architecture firm, we're still on schedule. They got right in and rolled their sleeves up in July and started doing their facility assessment. And they went through, the engineers came and toured the building, and they toured the building. We had meetings with Tim to understand from a facilities standpoint side. I feel like you can't hear me. I'm seeing faces. Is it bad?
It's quiet.
It's really quiet.
I don't know. Speaking right into my computer. We had a meeting today to review the feedback that we got from the school. So we had meetings with each principal, and then we had meetings with the staff after having meetings with the principal to understand what their priorities were. From having meetings then with the building planning committee, which is each building has a leadership group. That group then identified a top 10, and that top 10 is what we used to send out a staff survey. So the staff provided surveys on that. And we reviewed that today with the committee. And then we have started preparing for a community meeting on November 12th at 7 o'clock. So that is our next big push, is that we are pushing for taking that information, distilling it down into 5 key topics that we are going to address with the community and get their feedback on. We are still in the process of gaining consensus on what our challenges are. We have not started developing solutions yet. We have not started proposing projects or dollar amounts or anything like that. We're just in the investigation phase, and that's what we plan to wrap up in December, and that we will be in person there for a board presentation on like a halfway point of the master plan. So that's where we're at now. We owe Lonnie some language for getting in the paper about this community meeting, as well as on social media and the website. And then we also owe the facility committee a list of questions and presentation strategy on that information that we'll put forward to the public, that will have live surveys during the presentation, so that we can see what that feedback looks like. We will package that together into a presentation in December.
So November 12th.
Which is a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you, I'm sorry that we're having some technical difficulties here, but if you have any questions, I would definitely reach out, because there is a draft presentation that we are starting to pull together for that. So if you have any other questions about what will be going on at that meeting on the 12th, you've got 3 board members who are in attendance today. You could ask them, but you can also feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions, concerns, or if you're getting any comments. Anything from the public would be welcome at this point.
I think 3 of you who are here, if you want to kind of speak to anything today, that'll be a good time to do that. They'll be able to hear you for sure. Sorry, Tucker, we have an audio situation here. We're just not hearing real well.
I apologize.
Nah, problem could be on our end.
Just to paraphrase, they've met with the admin teams with the schools, got kind of what their priority list was. They've done their own audit of the buildings. That was this summer. They've surveyed the staff members of the buildings, and then brought that back to us today. There was some things that were ranked and some things that one group that wasn't ranked. It was just listed. Kind of a variety of different things. I mean, we can go into all that if we want, but that the idea is to then present what they've learned so far to the public. It won't be a town hall meeting, because it's not to that point yet of getting feedback on any proposed solution. It's more of a statement of where the issues lie.
And does the public agree and see the same?
Right, because that's the next leg of the stool as far as getting buy-in and feedback.
Accurate.
Thank you. Fixed it.
Did I just hear him better?
Yes.
We can hear you now better.
You start over?
You want me to start over?
I'll hear you. So Tucker, anything you can send to me, I will just pass along immediately. So.
Yep. And I think it's an appropriate amount of time in preparation for this community meeting, because we really do want to get the word out. So anybody you know, any avenue that you have of letting people know what's going on, I think is important to try to get as many people there as we possibly can.
We've got means to do that. Okay, any questions, Tucker? Thank you for your time today. Thanks for coming out. All right, thanks.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too. You too. Okay. Any questions or any comments about that? As soon as I get anything from him, I will kick it out to you guys as well. So I know we'll talk about it, admin team, the various venues of ways that we have to get that message out, get people there as much as we can. Okay. All right. Well, enjoy, Lonnie. High school auditorium. I don't know if it's been here. So it is at the high school auditorium. So what I see happening is there'll be some participation through like Mentimeter. You guys have probably done that with your phone before and answered some questions that way.
All right, Kansas Association School Board. Superintendent search. Bonnie retiring at the end of the school year. Starting the superintendent search with
We're gonna have
Michelle Hubbard.
Talk to us about the search.
She helped us with the search for the Fed Department too.
Plugged in here.
While he's doing that, just real quick, for those of you I haven't met, this is kind of unique because I have had an opportunity to work with four of you through the interlocal search. But my name is Michelle Hubbard and I work for KASB. I'm just finishing up my first year with them after 33 years in education. So I did a lot of different roles, but 10 years as superintendent. So I bring that to the table, but also I feel like I've worked for boards pretty much most of my career, and I'm still excited to work for the board. And I think that's what makes KASB very unique in this process, is that we do work for the board and not for the applicants. So at the end of the day, I'm going to come to you when I have questions. And sorry, Lonnie, but I don't work for Lonnie, and we won't work for future applicants, but we work for them. So with that being said, you ready to roll here? This is our team, and the main reason I share this is that we're all over the state, but this team becomes very important in our screening process. So once we have all of our applicants in place, this entire team will screen the applicants as well as 2 other local sitting superintendents. And we do that just because a lot of times applicants from this part of the state will apply that maybe I haven't had a connection with, and they have. And so it's just nice to have that, the whole state have some say in the screening, and then having those 2 local sitting superintendents. And if there's someone that you do or do not want me to use locally, then we can have that conversation later. But usually I try to choose someone in your league or someone the same size, just so I have some familiarity with the system. So, again, I already did that. We can fly through that. This is, again, what makes us really unique. We're the only organization that truly work for the school board. Most people that do superintendent searches work for applicants, and we work for you also. And you have been longtime members of KASB, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. One more clip for me. So here, if you have a book in front of you, the announcement and the timeline. So the whole phase 1 process is on page 4 through 15. I also gave you just a sample flyer. I need to get the data in there. I'll be working with your board clerk to do that, but we'll do the timeline. You also have that in your board docs. We need to confirm the timeline dates. I'll wait till the end when we go through all of that just to confirm, but we'll need to confirm those timelines. The sample marketing is there. We'll get it posted immediately as soon as we possibly can. So questions about this first timeline or anything in phase 1? All right.
Oh,
So,
it seemed real fast,
okay.
because
So,
we're talking about having this all said and done by the end of the year.
yes. And so when I originally spoke with Bonnie, I thought that we could change that timeline completely. I don't think it's overly fast.
Okay.
I do think that the last 2 weeks of December get really tight. And so if this is the timeline we go with, we need everyone to commit to the schedules. We need to make sure we just double check the school calendar, because I mean, you all know what this over looks like, right? So the other thing I think that is just open for discussion at this point is if you have new board members coming up, this one's kind of tricky, because are you trying to do it? Sometimes there's a perception we're trying to rush this because we don't want new board members to vote on this or be part of the process. And then other times it's like, well, they're brand new board members and they don't really know the system potentially. So it's just, I think it's worth the conversation as we look at the time. That timeline, I'm open to editing as much as you want to edit it. So.
Yeah, I mean, the only concern I have, and I just kind of asked for devil's advocate purposes as much as anything, but because I was here for the last superintendent search, but I don't remember what the timeline was for that.
It was in the spring, but.
Yeah, right.
I don't remember how condensed.
It wasn't as much with as much forward notice as this. So with anything that's at all condensed, the main thing is to make sure that we've got a chance to get all qualified applicants informed and the ability to apply. So that's one concern. And then whatever is the right way, I don't know. We will have a change in the board in one position. then. So, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. I'm just saying that does apply in this particular situation.
And so I get a couple of questions. Do you know who that board member is yet?
It's a contested we have a couple that are up for re-election that are not contested. We do, right. And there's 2 people vying for that position.
Okay. So some people will ask, can they still participate before they're actually on the board? Like after election comes and goes, December 1st who's going to be, can they participate in the interview process? The answer is technically, as a board, you can invite anyone you want into the session. The downfall is they haven't taken an oath, and so things that happen, they don't have the same expectations of confidentiality that you all have as board members because you've taken an oath. So it's risky. That's risky. So, if you want to move to January, I just say probably by the 3rd or 4th week of January, we have a superintendent, or you're going to start missing the opportunities. January 15th is kind of a sweet spot. They're popping right and left. I think we already have probably 8 as of tonight. Kansas, that you're looking for. Our local. I mean, you have one. Tonganoxie's making the decision tonight. I think that would be somewhat competitive for you all, and what their timeline's going to be. I mean, they're looking kind of the same, December, January, depending on which firm they go with, but yeah.
So my main concern is the first part of that. Do you feel that the timeline is enough that we will get any and all interested candidates to apply with what has already been set forward?
Yeah, I think December is an okay timeline. I do think probably mid-January is better. I think it gives that winter break. Also, a lot of people have in their contracts that they have to notify their board by December 1st. So that just gives superintendents a little bit. And the bad thing is the person you want has a great job. That's the person you want to have, right? And so the longer they can go without making it public that they're leaving, I think that's a little bit better, but on the flip side, you can't wait much. I mean, February 1st is, you're behind the 8 ball, I think.
So then to the second point, does that then potentially have with where the swearing in date is, would Jackie potentially be part of the whole process, but then not be able to vote on it because and then you've got somebody who's expected to vote without having been read into the whole process?
Correct. So I think it's January 15th-ish they come on. It's
the first regular meeting of January, which.
But I don't think it can be until after the state of the state when they're sworn in. I think it's
12th.
Yeah. So if you set the other problem with it is they come into an interview the week of January 18th and they know pretty much. I mean, unless they're sitting in board meetings, and maybe that's some of them back there, but unless they're sitting and really paying attention, they're coming in cold to make that decision as well. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I think you have to go with what you're comfortable with and what you think is best for kids in the district at the end of the day. Now, I will tell you, a lot of boards do invite futures in to that interview process, but that's a little too long.
So if you remove the logistical concern about the transition on the board, your position would be that going through winter break is a little bit better for the reasons that you stated. I'm just trying to give a synopsis.
I think it hurts anything. Okay. As of right now, there's not a search like in this region that's I think you're going to be competing with. I mean, Tonganoxie maybe, but again, I don't know if they're going to go December or January. But that's the downfall.
So then, my question, I guess, is looking at our actual calendar, would we be able to have this finished up with Jackie still here because the new person's out regardless, right? Without that transition period having to having already occurred, if you follow what I mean. Can we wait till January but still be done before the whatever date that is?
Yes, I think you could I'll grab my calendar here in a second, but does anyone have, like, what's the first full week in January?
I'm gone.
So what's the next week? So what's the next week?
The 12th.
So interview the week of the 12th.
Yeah, but
So you wouldn't be able to interview on Monday, you would have to spread it out. So that means like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe, unless you go the next week. Yeah, I mean, it gets tighter after that.
because if we did interviews that week, when would you have the deadline for applicants due?
You'd have to go backwards, but most likely
Yes, that's like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Holidays in there.
Yeah.
You
we
do,
gotta have-
and that puts a, and I think this, timeline is fine.
Mhm.
I think it's plenty of time for people to, apply and to, I actually think you guys will have really pretty good applicants. I mean, I will tell you that in Kansas right now, if we have 8 for a search like this, we're really happy with that. So I did 2 fairly close to you. Last year, we had Sabetha, where we had 6 sitting superintendents. They were all great candidates. In Atchison, I think had 11, and that was late in the year. It was April, May, I was shocked we had that many. Now, very few of them were experienced, which the longer you go in the window, the less likely you're going to have experience.
No, it didn't sound like there's a workable alternative for January with the timeline, so. Okay, that answered my question.
Anyone else here? All right, so the second phase, pages 16 to 23. So this is where develop characteristics, and I think it's a really, really important part of the search. So I would come in, spend a full day with a group of administrators, a group of teachers. I'd like to have a group of parents for sure, whatever else you all want me to have a focus group around, maybe high school kids. They're usually pretty, they have great comments and come up with amazing things, as you all know. But, and then at the end of that day, I'll formalize all of that. I would bring it to you. I would say, this is what your stakeholder said. And then you all would come up with the final characteristics that you want from your next superintendent. I mean, it might be something, we see all sorts of things. You see the normal ones, integrity, you want to be knowledgeable, all of those things. But sometimes you'll see things like we want to have experience, or it's important to live in our community, or whatever those things are. We would establish, we would have a written report of these are the characteristics that Hiawatha is people. We publish that list to anyone who would like to see it. It's an open meeting, so it's not like it's behind closed doors or anything like that. It's really upfront on what we're looking for. I missed this too. We also give a survey to the entire community. You all can push it however you want. In some of my other spaces, they'll have even churches push it for them. They'll have, put it in the local newspaper, social media accounts, because you want as much feedback as you can possibly get on that survey. So, taking into consideration the survey and then the focus groups, then you all can make a decision of that characteristics. Okay? And then the third phase is the interview phase, a really important part for you all. Pages 24 through 35 here. I will support you 100% through this process, but I will not be part of the interviews. That's where your job is really so important. I will help you with questions you should ask, questions you can ask, questions you shouldn't ask, all of those things. There's a whole bank of questions in this book that can prompt you, like what we're looking for in regards to questions, but then you also may have some very specific to your community. If you want your candidates to be public and have public feedback on who the candidates are, you can do that. I can have a feedback form. I think you all saw those feedback forms in the interlocal, those of you that just in there. That way you can consider the community feedback if that's what you want to do. And then I would share all of that to you before you make a decision with that in class. And then phase 4 is the negotiations and hiring. Again, I'll support you completely through this. I'll bring you salary comparisons for like-sized school districts. I'll bring you salary comparisons for the league that you're in, or any other that you ask for, so that you know that you're in a ballgame. I tell boards that this is not a time for the district to save money. You don't want to lowball a candidate if they're the candidate that you want. Press releases, letters for the unsuccessful candidates, all of that is in the book. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can help you with that as much as possible. I always offer our legal services if you want KSB legal team to take a look at your contract, make any suggestions. Having a superintendent for 9 years is really unusual in the state of Kansas. You guys are very fortunate to have made this song with the same superintendent. And so, but what we're finding oftentimes is that their contracts are maybe a little outdated just because it's easy to roll it every year and get a signature. But that we really would like a legal team to look at it, just protect you all moving forward. And then the last phase, this is goals and expectations. So the superintendent's hired. They start July 1. I would come back in July. Some of you just participate in this and you're local. We would sit down and say, what are some goals for the year? What are some set challenges? What are some warning flags you want this new superintendent to know? And then board, what is it that you want from your superintendent? And superintendent, what is it that you need from the board to be successful? Communication. Mostly, it's almost always around communication and just expectations. So a really important phase. I will also say that this phase is necessary for our guarantee that if the superintendent, for whatever reason, doesn't work out after 1 year, there will be no charge for us to do. We don't have to do that very often. We're successful with our searches, so we like to do a really nice job of vetting. And I didn't mention it, but in our screening phase, we also do a pretty significant spread on social media. So if you'll notice on that, you all would need, on 11:10, you would have a meeting already. We would need an hour outside of meetings. We'd either need to start at 5 or I could come in and go after. But that meeting that I have slated for November 24th would be a special meeting. It would be all executive session. We would rank those candidates for you, a green, yellow, red system. Green means they're a great applicant. You should consider interviewing them. Yellow would be they're a good applicant potentially, but they might be missing one of those characteristics that you're looking for, or they might just not have the experience that you're looking for, but they have great potential, and the red means it's not someone we would let. We would go through every applicant in the that night. So it was a lot of information really fast. Do you have questions before I do the last part here? Okay, so the only other thing is the cost of the survey. You have a sample contract in board docs, and so for a school district this size, it's $5,500 plus expenses. There won't be any expenses except for mileage. I won't ever charge anybody for any of those kinds of things. So, mileage only. Again, we do have a legal team that can help support you through negotiations, writing of the contract, really anything that you want. You have access to that.
Shell, are those all a part then on top of the 5,500?
That's all part of it. You may have that service anyway. Do you have a legal?
Yeah. So that would be
You
included
have
there.
that service anyway, but even if you didn't, that would be part of the process, yes. So, questions?
What's the next step?
Finalized timeline. And assuming you all, I always encourage you to vote. I mean, it's 5,500, so by law you don't technically have to, but I think for transparency reasons, it's always great to do that. And then I would work with your board clerk tomorrow for a signature on the contract, and we would probably be posted by Wednesday. Maybe the legal board.
You did a great at the end of local. It was really easy.
It's going to be a lot easier, and this process will be easier because you're out. I'm confident the applicant will be better.
And we're not starting like in April.
Absolutely, and that makes a difference. Timing is important. So, but the sooner we can get it posted, then the better.
So it may be advantageous if we can get somebody locked down before winter break when they have time to. Okay. Pros and cons.
Yes.
Okay.
I would point out, I believe that November 24th is the Monday before Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
So I just want to note that maybe if that's important to change, or is it going to be an okay date? Because that one is a really, characteristics, if one of you are gone, you can give your input to your peers, but I really like for all of you to see the applicants.
I will be gone.
You'll be,
I will not be here on November 24th.
okay, so we would want to look for a different date.
I'm gone till Thanksgiving, Monday, Tuesday, get back Wednesday.
Still in school, I think you.
No, still anymore. That's why I wanted to throw it out there. If you grab my calendar.
And I'll just throw out, I'm gone the week before as well.
The whole week?
The whole week, national meeting, yeah. So
The 19th is when the applicants are due, so.
what about December 1 then?
So if we go December 1, we'll want to do the interviews the week of December 8. So can you all commit to the interviews? Do you have a board meeting on the 8th?
Yeah.
So then we would go 9, 10, 11, potentially 12 if you have 4. In December 1, I think I'm out except through the 14th.
For interviews.
Say that again.
He's gone what?
9 to 11.
And you're gone that week too?
I leave on the 10th.
I'm here the whole week of the 15th.
So the 24th isn't interviews though, right? It's just hearing the report from the committee.
Yes. Could you zoom in?
Is that looking at applicants though?
It is looking at applicants.
But there'll still be interviews after that, so.
And I'm not opposed to doing it, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I'm okay with a weekend if you want to choose a weekend. I don't know if that's, it's totally up to you guys.
Was there more than me gone on the 24th? So I'll either zoom in or defer to the cut now, but I'll people, the interviews is.
Can we send him the applicants so he can?
I'll go through each one of them, so you would see that on Zoom. Like, I'm literally gonna tell you every applicant where they're at,
How long do you expect that?
about an hour.
I think I can hopefully make that work.
Okay. So we're gonna leave it on the 24th.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a 6 o'clock meeting, or you all decide. Tell me when to be here. Does 6 o'clock tend to work for everybody?
There's a girls' basketball in here at 4:30.
Yeah, Jack and I will probably be Reagan going.
Is Reagan what?
Doing basketball?
Oh, no. It requires running.
Don't shoot me, but what about a 7 a.m. meeting?
Oh.
A morning meeting? I know you gotta drive up there. Clears the afternoon, it's actually.
I mean, evening is fine. I mean, we could do 6 or 6:30 or 7.
Do you have things going on in the evening, is that why you're
I'm there for the afternoon. I'm flexible, whatever. Just tell me.
I mean, yeah, 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, I don't care.
Are you gonna be central time zone in?
That will be.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it'll be 3 hours ahead, so you need to come in at 4:30.
8 a.m., 7 a.m.?
8's fine with me. The earlier the better. I mean, the earlier in the day, like morning is better, but if people have to be at their job at 8, that's why I was suggesting 7. But 8's just as good as 7. Sorry, guys.
With this much planning, I can.
Jackie, Mitch, does that work for you? That Monday at 7? Then yeah. Okay. Did you say 7 or 8? Man, I'm pushing for 8.
I'm trying, I love 8, but I'll do 7 if you guys want.
Either time is fine.
Yeah, I'm off that day. I can make whatever.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
All right, so 8 a.m. on the 24th.
Thank you.
Okay, and then interviews, does that mean you'll want to go December 2nd through the 5th?
That works for me.
So what it means for you all is likely 5 to 10 p.m. every night.
And it will not be all of the boards are present for the interviews, right?
As all.
It is, okay.
So 2nd through the 5th.
What, yeah.
What time?
I was on phone.
Or like what time is,
So,
we was that meeting the 3rd at 6.
yeah, that would not work.
Possibly.
We could move that. We could. Maybe that's in the morning, maybe. Yeah, we can make that work. Okay.
So 2, 3, I would block your calendars for, 1 is a professional development day, if I remember correctly, December 1. And so we would want to avoid that. Let's talk about what your interview is going to look like. Are you going to publicly name your clients and let people have access to visit with them?
I don't think we should.
That was the case with this sped district just recently.
Yeah, they did a little write-up of where they're at and what they do and.
Typically, they put that up pretty much the
The
day.
day
Your morning.
Yeah.
Recommend.
Yeah.
Good.
When I went through it, yes, that they, towards, right after school was out, there was a gathering, little school call, just for public participation.
So typically that would be right after school, so you have that public gathering from 3 to 4. Usually get the applicant, we recommend an hour. If they're from away, you would have a hotel room for them or just have a space for them to gather their thoughts, recoup from the day because they've spent a long day here, likely, or at least half a day. And then we usually recommend an informal meal with you all, with the board. And then going into the 5 to 6 informal review, maybe 30 minutes in this case, and then start the interviews at 5:30 or 6. So we'll be there with them at the 3 or whatever now. Okay. Usually I have one board member present to just help facilitate. Or sometimes the board clerk does that, sometimes the outgoing superintendent does that. We'll have to decide who's going to run those, who's going to drive them around. Did you do that? You did that, like you did up here and then Becky? So we can do that however you want. We'll talk about that at the characteristics meeting and really narrow that down. All right, so 2, 3, 4, 5 potentially for interviews. Most likely, I'm going to recommend 3 for you unless there's just 4 that are out of the park. Okay, what other questions?
Marty, do you want a motion on this? Yeah, there's one in the board docs.
Is that it?
Any other discussion? I move to engage with Kansas Association of School Boards for Superintendent Search Services. Second. Move in second to engage with Kansas Association of School Boards for Superintendent Search. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0.
So, I believe Ronnie for sure has my phone number.
Yeah.
And Ronnie. So, if you have questions, like during the week, you're like, I wish I would have asked that, shoot me a text, call me anytime. That's what I'm there for. Don't hesitate.
Okay, well, you know, your
Absolutely, yes.
And just as email, okay too?
Sure.
I don't know if
That's.
we have that in there.
It's in there somewhere.
Okay.
It's on this.
Perfect. All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Safe trip back.
Thank you. All right, here's this. We need that, and that's just a sample. I'll put on your data here.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Right, moving on to item J, school safety.
The public safety entering point grant, approach from Brown County Sheriff's Department, specifically dispatch, regarding a grant opportunity that we wanted to engage in, partnering with us on. It is through, basically, to summarize, it's making some rather elaborate and very detailed maps of each school building so that if the situation were to occur, then that gives better intel to responders. Just so you know, while we're, that actually our camera systems, they can actually get access into those as well. But I figure with cameras, with the mapping, that's only going to make their abilities with responding greater. So no guaranteed on one, if you'll get the grant, it's kind of a rolling grant, so it comes in cycles. So two, even if you get one, no guarantee you win that. So I said, because it's awarding stages, kind of hard to establish the timeline. Okay? But starting point is a memorandum of agreement, not of understanding. So that's a new one to me, an MOA versus an MOU. But I've got that in the doc or in your board docs right now. It would require, we've filled out the blanks where they go. Doesn't look like it'd be anything very expensive.
Doesn't
The
Tucker
grant-
have this already?
I'm sorry.
Doesn't Tucker have the map already?
Yeah, look, but they're gonna do different things with that blueprint there. Yeah. So they'll actually take that and see it. We actually have everything digitized, certainly. We finally found a high school, which took forever to find, but we got it. So the board president would be the one who would sign that. So if you guys agree with that, then maybe move on or simply nod your head, whatever you want to do with that. But it would be Ronnie who would sign.
And on here it says like both parties agree that the map the cost of it can range from 5,000 over 30,000 if one signs the structure.
It does. So obviously we wouldn't be at $30,000 school district. I'm going to guess we're probably going to be in the 10 to 15 range. However, that grant is supposed to pay for a good portion of that. You do not have to do it. It comes down to it. If you find a price and it's too great, yeah, we're out. So
Can we do it pending the receipt of the grant?
sure, and I think that's actually in it.
Is the intent?
Yeah, it's in it anyway. Yeah.
Well, then I would move that we enter into the memorandum of agreement with BCSD as presented.
Moving second to approve the memorandum of agreement between Brown County Sheriff's Department as presented. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7. Item K, quote for laptop.
All right. So, typically we waterfall laptops, let's say in certain years, the elementary staff laptops, we're talking really not student laptops, we're talking, so when I talk products, we're talking actual laptops. Windows 10 will no longer be serviced anymore, so you can't really update anymore. Which I probably wish I'd known that a little sooner. We went ahead and made this purchase last summer. Originally, the plan was we were going to purchase basically this set of computers over this summer. So it was going to occur in this fiscal year anyway, but I'm asking that we do it sooner rather than waiting till then because right now we are running with, a platform that is no longer supported. It's not been a problem yet, but it will be a problem. You won't be able to update anything like that. Some of our machines, basically the ones that these are going to replace, including this one right here, will not support an upgrade to the next Windows unit. So it's really just, you have to get a new computer for them. So good news is most of ours are new enough to where they will support that transition. So that's what that's about. Tim has, to give us guy, this was the cheapest quote, the best quote. Of course, it's never apples to apples. It is, but in Tim's opinion, this was the best and had everything that our machines needed without things that it didn't. So I would ask to approve that so we can get moving on that. And timeline, you're probably looking at another month or so before they're going to get there.
And adjuncts are elementary and these are stationary units. They don't leave the building.
These are teacher units, just
Teacher units,
Teacher
okay.
units, yeah, just like this. There are also some other computers that we'll have to replace some desktop units, for example, too. But those are few. There are not very many. My office would be an example of one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But those are few and far. Most places are a laptop and a docking station.
So will any of these require a transport bag?
No.
Okay.
Teachers' bags will work fine for what.
Okay.
Yes, no.
Okay.
thought you mentioned.
A little bit. I was thinking more like 60,000 when it first came out. Again, you were gonna, I'll tell you, you were probably gonna have to make that purchase, you would have had to make that purchase. It's not- Same goes with.
So you wouldn't put this out for approval if you hadn't already looked at the amounts, so we don't have to cross that bridge.
Yeah, we've already looked at it.
Yeah, so, with that in mind, I would make the motion to approve the bid, as presented for laptops for $42,784.
To approve laptop bids. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0. I'll need it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna start with, Tim. Tim, are you back there? Yes, sure he is. All right. Then we'll update you on some facilities matters. Sure.
Don't have a whole lot. The main thing is I wanted to discuss snow removal again. Got a couple of different proposals from vendors. I think I marked them as option A, option B. And I think that we included, Levi had got me the last 5 years' expense of what we spent on snow removal in there for you. I know it's really hard to compare apples to apples with this, what we've had in the snow last year. It was kind of unusual amount of snow. But you can also see we spent a huge difference last year compared to what we spent in the past. In the option A, that vendor has actually reduced the price per hour that they had bid last year. I think they were at 195 per hour. So they've dropped that down to 145. And then on option B, it depends on the equipment they use, which last year they usually used the larger tractor and then a skid steer. So you're probably looking at a blended rate of the 130 to 190 per hour. So I'm actually going to make a recommendation that we go with proposal A. Just because they will use a larger equipment, I think we'll have better coverage in less amount of time of the snow.
I didn't know, on this bid, they have the parking lot salt. Are they charging us for the salt or just spreading?
Only if we request it. We usually do the spreading of the salt ourselves.
Okay. Don't you do something with the city or get it from the city?
We get it from the city.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
No, they just included that in the bid we chose, because we did have an incident last year with one of the weekend sports events. That the sport event opted to get some salt spread. So I went ahead and had them include salt spreading just in case we needed it.
Okay.
I move that we accept the bid for snow removal option A as presented and recommended as a bid.
Second.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
Can you say the motion?
It's moved and second to approve option A for snow removal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0.
And we'll let that.
Thank you.
Let
Let them know.
One request,
I know where it's.
Go ahead.
if we could have them push the snow down towards the bottom of the parking lot instead of
Yeah.
piling it up in front of the exit.
And you're referring to the ice mix?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I will discuss that one.
Yeah, every year's different.
Yeah.
Last year was probably definitely the most snow that we've had in at least the last 9-10 years. But and it's very hard to have apples to apples.
Mhm.
I know Tim and I talked a lot. There were some things that we felt needed to be better last year, and we don't know how much of that exactly is the service and how much is simply the components of snow that we have. But anyway, I absolutely agree with you.
Is it possible that whether we have the vendor do it or we do it, that we could clear away some of the piles over time so that they don't last, so that we have Mount Deer out there at HES that lasted for months
And
and
when that
months?
melted, that caused us a lot of problems.
Sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we did actually remove part of that later after.
Yes,
And yeah, we have the ability to do that now with the dump trailer, so
yeah,
absolutely.
right, okay. And that's something that we would be better off doing ourselves than.
I think so,
Yeah,
especially cost wise.
Sure, and we've got the equipment to do it.
Absolutely. A couple other things, just so you know what's going on. I did some updating at the high school parking lot, adding some accessible parking. We'll be having an audit coming up for ADA compliance, and I've added 2 at the front, on the front row, 2 over at the stadium, and then put new signs at all of them. So we now have a total of 8 accessible parking lot or spaces, 3 of which are van accessible. So we'll be covered on what we're required to have for the number of spaces we have. And also along the Circle Drive, I've been updating the no parking signs with some bright ones that can actually be seen. We're still working on that. The shot clock has been installed at the high school on the 2 goals. And I will also be working on spraying sealer on our concrete this year. So hopefully we can avoid some more damage from salt. About all I got.
How's the ventilation down at the wood shop? How are those little portable units holding up?
Well,
I've seen them in use a couple of times, and I saw that one of them tripped a breaker, so.
They got wired last Thursday.
they got what?
Wired. It came, it did not come with a plug. So we had to have a qualified electrician take care of that, which we did. They're impressive little units,
Mhm.
and it'll help. It doesn't take care of everything, but it will help.
Are they 110 units?
They are 110.
The wall plug?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with some good news. I think, first of all, I think I made folks aware that Mr. Palmer from KSB was here last week, and just so, for the record on public meeting, really, he came to visit with stakeholders, various, including some patrons and board members and some staff, really about, what are we doing here that's making us outperform the expectations, specifically in overall results, including state assessments, post-secondary effective rate, graduation rate. All of those are, graduation rate is 8% higher than expected. I've got some more data on that. Post-secondary effective rate, 27% higher than what would be expected, and it's improved by 22% in the last 5 years. So we're making a lot of gains in those arenas. He came to visit about that, and find out what's the secret to that. So, I know that Ronnie and who else? Griff visited. There he is, visited with him as well, and we also had. Lori Henry was in that group with us as well. Lori had a lot of things to say. She's been here in the district a long time. Everybody here has been in the district a long time, a lot longer than me. So, we did, I know in that session, we talked a lot about community sport, which is, unlike what I've seen anywhere else, especially when you look at or the senior awards nights and how many, I think we're up to, I just can't remember the number from last year, but we're 180,000, Ron, are pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
180, 185 or something like that.
So that was awarded. So anyway, I do want you to know that, you had a couple different groups that visited with Mr. Palmer. We do have a lot of initiatives. Lori's talked to you about some of those, but every district's got initiatives. So it's what makes, at the heart of the matter always is the culture. It's always going to be that's going to make the difference. You can have all the initiatives in all the world. But it's the educators that are at the heart of the culture. We have really good people that are disciplined and take care of and do the things that we decide to engage in and do it with fidelity. It makes all the difference in the world. So that was a really good bright spot. Following up with that, right? So we got here today that we received 4-star recognitions from KSD this year. So we've had 2 before, and I think we've had 3 before too. Social emotional growth, we have copper. So it goes like this, obviously gold, silver, then bronze, and then copper. Okay. So total marginal growth was a copper. The individual plan of study was a bronze, the graduation rate, gold. So,
Great.
yeah, post-secondary effectiveness rate, copper. So we made a lot of headways in that. That's just good people doing great things.
And these are all awards. They're not ranking us from lowest to highest. We wouldn't have to get anything. And the fact that we got
No, absolutely.
a copper award is still an award. It's still,
For
yeah.
example, social emotional growth and individual plan of study, you have to apply for that and give a lot of documentation. Don't you, Lori? A lot of documentation for that. Other ones like the graduation rate or anything to do with just metrics that are done at the state level, it's just data and plain data. Those are not, we don't do anything about those. You either qualify or you don't. 4 is our biggest number that we've had, so we're pretty happy about that. Another good award, I see Mr. Good news, I see Mr. Armand is here. So talk a little bit about a Patterson Award. I believe that is in your doc. So it says grant award letter.
They have a copy of the letter.
They do.
Okay. This past spring, Lori sent out to the CTE teachers this opportunity with the Patterson Family Foundation as a potential for a grant application. And I had come across some fairly new equipment that looked pretty cool, but with funding restrictions, kind of beyond our abilities at that point in time. So talked with Lori on what I had in mind. So we went ahead and did I would guess I call it an intent to apply letter outlining what all we're going to be wanting to apply for and the rationale behind it. A little background on the Patterson Foundation. They really encourage, they're promoting rural areas, and they focus on counties with 50,000 residents or less, which encompasses, and they cover all of Kansas and then northwest Missouri. And they focus on economic opportunities, education, healthcare, community engagement. So we were notified that we were approved for the next step. And so this summer came in and filled out some extensive applications. My end of it was more with the getting a kind of a budget figured out on what equipment was going to be involved and a rationale with this, as you saw in your docs there, we've been approved for a laser welder, 2 laser welders, and 2 laser cutters. And that'll fit right in with our curriculum. We're going to expand the curriculum to an advanced welding class. A couple weeks ago or so, we went to Sabetha Manufacturing Day, toured 4 manufacturing companies, and I've been sitting on this. Very few people know that we've received this, but I saw in use larger scale versions of what we're going to be getting. And these kids are sharp when it comes to technology, and I'm looking forward to see what we can come up with. And, on the wood side, we've got our CNC routers to have 2 of those units. We have a laser engraver. Now on the metal side, we're getting kind of caught up on technology. So again, when those come in to get all set up, right now I believe we're still waiting on the check to come through, so nothing's been ordered. But it won't take long to get those things online. We don't have to do any additional electrical circuitry. The bag shop is set up nicely for these. So we'll let you know when those are in place. Absolutely invite you to come to both our shops and check out what's going on.
substantial dollar amount.
Yeah, yes. And I had an idea. Lori knows how to, she's the wordsmith on this. And I greatly appreciate that. As it was mentioned, it takes everyone to make this district work. So.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. So, thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. I'm going to hold off in the middle on the high school education just a little bit now. I'll save you guys for the last part. We'll save the best for last. Okay, October calendar dates, just some important dates coming up. So we've got PD days coming up on the 30th, then the 31st, of course. So there'll be, we thought about it, if we could make calendar change, have to do, we'll see how that works out for us. That was the first thing I was warned about. Don't try to do this. So we never did that. They did half, that was exactly right. Apparently that was not that one.
We had, yeah, we did too. We had costume parties and it was wonderful and it was
Really hard on elementary teachers, and I think that's really rough day. So coming from schools that have that, that's a growing. So then I did move something off consent agenda and into my report, and that is Jeannie, field trip with Jeannie Wagg. So if you look at her, she's got a few different requests. I want to draw your attention to really, it'd be the first one, which is FFA National Convention. The reason I brought that up, Ed, I'm going to ask you to approve, or I'm going to ask you to make whatever decision you make, knowing that there's two other ones that are really not, have no controversy involved here. The issue that I want you to be aware of, this is, of course, in Indianapolis. We have one adult with SWAG, and we have 24 students. And I see that as a potential problem. I don't want that to skate through in a consent agenda and then that come back and you were never aware of that. You can make whatever decision you want. I've talked with Jeannie. I've urged her to see if she can find another adult, a parent in the community, somebody who kind of works with FFA program. We've got some kind of boosters that are in that area too. So I've kind of challenged her and said, I really want you to have more. Now she'll tell you that, there are other, nearby districts who will have adults there. To me, that doesn't really matter. I want our people there. If something happens to Mrs. Wagg, if something were to happen, then who's there? So that's where I know Ron and I have talked about that. That is our concern. I don't want that to be on the consent agenda when I found out those numbers. So pull that off there. I'll ask for your guidance and what you guys want to do about that.
So you're not necessarily recommending that we approve. You want us to discuss it.
Well, you're the ones who, in the end, it comes down to you guys are the ones who approve these. Now, I just don't want that to be a consent agenda.
Right.
But, that's not something you want to consent to unless you know about it.
Okay, so I'll phrase it another way. Would you recommend that we approve that one at, okay.
My recommendation was that we
require.
And I told Ms. Webb, we would pay for that extra adult to be there, whatever costs are included with that. Because that's the best thing to do for kids here. I don't think the best thing to do for kids or anybody is to send them that far away with one adult.
Mm-hmm. And just leave it as a suggestion. It would be nice to have somebody else.
So it looks like they're going with, is that the
charter.
They're going to be charter bus?
Sound right, running the charter.
Is there a precedent with other?
I was gonna ask, is there a policy? There should be.
There is not a policy on a ratio of.
I recommend we draft a policy, not specific to make the decision for this thing, but I think just as a school district, we should have a policy that dictates student to adult ratios, especially overnight out of state trips. Because then it's clear.
In the past, we've not had numbers like that. And that's why this problem is not. A few years ago, we had significantly less, and we had two folks. We had a student teacher here too, and now it's a teacher somewhere else. But so you had two folks. Other years, you may have had much smaller numbers or something like that. But anyway, tell me how you want to proceed.
Well, I think this is a great trip, and they first of all, and so I don't want to portray that I'm in any way against them doing it. I want them to do it, but I do think that it would be prudent to require a second person.
Because we're not going to approve this before the trip. We're not going to have another meeting. So is it more of a?
I think you could approve it with the
condition of you have at least one more.
Approved by administration. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if that's the consensus of the board, then I would make that motion to approve the the trip with the condition that an additional adult supervisor approved by the board be present.
Administration.
Yeah, or yeah, not by the board. I said by the board. I didn't mean it. Yeah, administration.
Sorry, Rhonda, I'm pointing at you.
No, thank you.
Now, the other two are, those are really, those could have stayed on consent agenda. So I just asked you to approve the second and the third one as presented.
Mm-hmm.
So those are, since they technically were on the consent agenda.
So there's a motion without a second.
But hold on. So this third one though, this is another overnight out of town to Manhattan.
Yeah.
And that-
Yeah. And I don't think those numbers are the same.
7 to 11 of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, there's just a lot of writing.
Yeah.
I would say.
I think that one could be
2 hours versus 10, 12 for you. So.
I second Ian's motion.
Moving second to approve, is this just for that trip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The FA trip with the understanding there's one more adult with admin's approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0.
And then do you need a motion for the other two?
Yeah, if you would do the other two and just,
I move to approve the other two trip requests submitted for athletics.
Moving second to approve 2 trips for FFA, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0.
not good or bad news, but Levi talked to us about us coming on.
Yeah, so October 22nd. October 22nd, the fiscal auditors will be here. That is separate from the KSD auditors, so these will be our financial auditors. It is for the board, and then in probably not November, most likely December, they'll be available by Zoom or whatever, to give you guys an update or a report on what they find. We haven't had any trouble in the past. It'll be Varney again, Varney and Associates, who is always very easy to work with. But other than that, I think you guys were all here for the last one, so it was a similar process.
That sounds fun.
It's not.
I don't know if it's any less work than the other ones, let's say the KSD one. October calendar dates, I thought I've already done that. So now we're at middle school and high school updates. You recall, Mrs. D did her elementary update last month, and now Mrs. Gates is here. She'll do that for the middle school. So give a quick update, news, and things like that.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. School year has started off well. It's been very, very busy, very active. We've been looking at a lot of data. Our state assessment scores came in within the last month, and so we've been actively looking at those, dissecting those, sorting, grouping kids according to intervention needs, getting kids to where they need to go. Academically, off to a good start. It's a real busy start. Athletically and program-wise, we had approximately about 34 kids out for volleyball. So very busy season. That just finished up on Saturday. Football has another game this week, and about 25 student athletes there in football. They've had an excellent season. I believe we've lost one game by just a few points. Cross country had a total of 15. They finish up with their league meet this week as well. So this year we started a couple new things, trying some different things out. We have invited all 7th and 8th graders to morning weights and conditioning at the high school. Overall, it's going pretty well. When we first started, I'd say we had higher numbers. That's pretty normal. On a regular basis, we're averaging about 3 to 5 girls every morning. About 10 boys go about 50% of the time, and then about 2 to 3 boys about 75% or greater. When I talked to Wyatt today, he said, between 5 and 23. The reason for that is that football boys have film on Monday mornings, and then they don't really like to lift on game days, and so you do get a variety throughout the week, but it is increasing, as we go. So I figure those numbers will continue throughout the year. Of course, we'll ebb and flow, but we also are trying jazz band out in the mornings. So Tuesday and Thursdays, we are doing a 7 a.m. jazz band. It's averaging about 10 kids. I think that's going really well. They've made a lot of progress. Trust me, I can hear them. They're doing really well. Wrestling and girls basketball are starting up. So girls basketball started up tonight. When I went in there to count, it looked like I counted 22 there. There was about 26 signed up. We still have some kids in cross country because there's a little bit of an overlap. So I would say we'll probably be in there about 22, 24 when it's all said. So girls basketball. Wrestling practice will actually start next week with our D at West Co-op. Right now we have 11 boys signed up for that. So good solid numbers. Looking for transportation right now, trying to secure that to get those kids over to practice with them back. We do have 2 to 3 girls who are interested in girls wrestling season, which I believe would start in January. So Kim talked to Chris Lackey, I believe, today, and they also have 3 or 4 girls who are interested in girls wrestling season. So we'll get some more information on that. We have a little bit of time, but wanted to throw that out there as a potential we could probably be looking at down the road. Just about ready to have our Q1 student recognition activity. So we'll be going to Mulberry after the Q1 grades are finalized. We'll look at eligibility at that point in time. I'd like to give a big shout out to the Education Foundation because they help fund that NEAT experience for kids. Big supporter of that. So we appreciate that help. Anything for me? Okay, thank you.
Right.
Hey, very similar, pretty good start. It's very busy and, I sometimes think nothing could surprise me and there's still surprises every day. So, they keep us on our toes, but overall going well. Teachers report more positive student interactions and less behavior issues. And I would say overall, so far, we've had some fewer behavior issues than we had last year. Ben and I are getting in the classrooms a lot more often, doing a lot more walkthroughs, and so that's really good. And I have been in a lot of classes this year, and it's much better, and I like getting out there and seeing that. And actually, kids have asked the teachers, why is Mr. Idaway's coming in here? And then, of course, there's always those kids that, they're looking at she's looking at the teacher, she's not looking at us. But I look at both while I'm in there. But we have been doing data dives with our state assessment scores too, and just trying to figure out what can we do, how do we reach those kids that we can move up to a next level, and working real strongly with the English and math departments to figure out what we can do to get some better results there. Just as far as numbers and things, and I know the alternative program is going to be a question. So currently we have 5 at the alternative program. We started the year with 3. One of those has been removed. And then now we have added 3 others. Lots of success, actually. There it's going really well. I have 2 kids in particular who earned their very first high school credits, even though they're in their either 2nd or 3rd year of high school. So I do think it's making a very positive impact on the culture and the behaviors of the high school, but it's also a very positive impact on those kids that are at the alternative program, which is my goal, is to have that both ways. I want to have a better atmosphere for all of our students at the high school, but I also want those kids to be successful. And I am going down there, between Ben and I, we're down there at least twice a week, just checking in, making sure things are going. So it's going well. I mean, there's bumps, there's things along the way. I mean, those kids are working online all day long. So there's times that we have some little issues and behaviors, but really overall, we're seeing lots of successes. One student in particular has been, a complete turnaround from last year and is ahead of schedule, getting classes done, positive. building relationships with the teachers that are there, and just really positive impact there. And really right now, all 5 that are there are doing well and are getting their credits. We kind of did some different things with them as far as how many classes at a time. And so that has worked well for them, because sometimes, 8 classes, if you're really ADHD, can be overwhelming. So we kind of are doing some shorter time periods and fewer classes, and then add more as they finish things. But so they have finished some classes and earned some credits, which is really good. We have 11 full-time virtual students, and those are doing well. We have a few that we have to monitor more closely than others. We have to get on them and say, hey, you haven't been online for a few days, get with it, and then they'll kick it in gear, and then they'll slack back on, So, but overall, the virtual kids are being successful. I think we have 6 of those that are virtual that are planning to graduate in December. 5 that are planning to finish and be done in December, because they are seniors and are all on track to do that through the virtual program.
Great.
Questions about any of that? Then I have reports from Ben too, since he had to leave. So he had to leave to go to the Powder Puff football. So that's going on right now. But so this year we had 31 out for volleyball, 41 out for football, 9 for girls golf, 7 girls and 8 boys out for cross country. Girls golf just finished their season today. I think it was a very successful first season. They did finish 7th out of 11 teams at regionals today, but not good enough to go on to state or any postseason play. But I think it was a really good, productive season for them. We had lots of finishers, and I think 3rd place finish at a tournament as a team might have been the highest we have all year. But they did well for that first season.
Do we have any individuals make it?
No, we did not have any individuals make it out. The one that's what I asked Ben. He's one who normally is our highest, did not have a good day today. So, that happens. I don't know. I'm not a golfer, so I don't really know. But
Positive on the program.
yeah, I think it's gone really well, and it get some students involved who would not have done a sport anyway, and got them involved in something and had some positive impact. I know. To the last 2 meets, they've taken everybody, and that was really good. We had some freshman girls that were so excited because they got to go and be a part of the team, and so that was very positive, very positive. Probably one of the biggest things new on athletics is we have a new athletic trainer app for parents, athletes, and coaches. And some of you guys probably know maybe more than I do about this, because this is from Ben, but it tracks injuries, and then it shows a plan of action for their return to activity. So on the app, they can see, and parents can see, this is what the student needs to be doing, and working their way back into being able to participate if they're that kind of an injury. And then also we have all events are being covered by either Jody, and if she's not there, then an athletic trainer from Amberwell will be at all of our events. We also have a trainer coming to the high school once a week. They come on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. and then meet with the kids, and they kind of have that tracked through that app also. And so the trainers come and meet with the students who need it to do physical therapy or training, whatever they need to be able to stay able to participate or get back to being able to participate. And that's a new thing this year. And I think that's going well too. So that was all I had from Ben. So.
Tread water easier than year one.
Oh yeah, yeah, it does. I do feel like it's going well.
So the students at the alternative program, are they there like for lunch and everything? They don't go back and forth at all?
No, they don't go back and forth at all.
Is it just high school, or there's some middle school?
It's just high school. Yeah.
Hey, Lonnie, there was a trip request that I thought made it into consent that did not. It was a science Olympiad trip that Kylie had sent me. Snow. I'm trying to load it into Board Docs, but Board Docs isn't working.
Yeah, mine going.
I can tell you it's November 8th, which is why I'm bringing it up now. There's 2 sponsors for 15 students to Pioneer Trail Invitational in Olathe, Kansas. I mean, if the board can, I know that's kind of.
Second. Moving second to June 20th. Third, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, motion passes. I'm not be there.
Did you have anything else in superintendent report? So I had this great segue because Rhonda was talking about athletics and Ben being gone, but then Levi threw me out. So I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about the Hayden game that we had a couple of weeks ago. And the implications I think that come from that a little bit. So it'd be some of the questions I have would be better if Ben was here. I understand he's got another. So last year we played them twice, and we had to play them down there twice, and they were anything but the model of fans and professionals down there, from their coaches to their ADs on down. And I know Ben reported them to Keisha, and I don't think anything came of it. So this year we got the pleasure of hosting them. I believe a letter was sent by Ben, is that right, to them ahead of time? Because they have a habit of tailgating and publicly drinking alcohol in their parking lot. And so we made sure that they knew that that wasn't acceptable here. But they arrived with their thumbs on their noses and proceeded to immediately do that. And so I know the police were notified. Rhonda knew, spoke to them the first time, maybe more graciously than I would have done, just told them to put it away. Second time, they were warned again. I probably would have told them to leave myself at this time, but that's Monday morning quarterbacking. So, but they got to stay through the game. Their AD told the lady who takes pictures that she couldn't be on their side of the track taking pictures. Our bell had to be guarded by patrons and then by Ben because they were swarming it. They were going to ring it. They're just bad actors in general. I've got a few questions. I understand they're not in our league. They are in our district. And I wanted to make sure that we are required to play everyone in our district. I've looked at it, that versus the league. I don't quite understand. That's a question because it seems like they're a bad penny. They keep coming up. If I got to be king Acacia for the day, we'd never play them again, there or here.
Does districts change every so years?
It does.
Next year.
Is it the thing for next year?
But that doesn't mean that
Okay.
based on the numbers.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware.
So, but we could, as of right now, we don't. Yeah.
And
We
yeah,
could play them next year, but it's possible that we won't.
Okay.
it kind of works the same way as you're assigned into a sub-state.
Sure.
Or sub-state for football. 2 years since.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to add to it, if you really look at this area of Kansas, try to count how many 3A football schools, because the 3A football, 3A basketball, different things.
Right.
But 3A football schools, that's problematic. There aren't as many as you'd think.
Which is a great segue to the next part of it, is that most of the states, or actually all the states that surround us, deal with private schools differently than they deal with public schools with.
Multiplier.
There's a multiplier, there's all kinds of different strategies.
Private school league.
Because they know that they're able to recruit, that they're able to draw whomever they want to, and whereas we play the kids that we have, right? And gives them an unfair advantage. Now, I've got no problem with our teams getting whipped by somebody. That's, losing is as important to learning as winning, but they definitely have an unfair competitive advantage. It just comes more to a point because they're such bums about it. But I would like, and this probably needs to be an agenda item, but there's been legislation that's died in committee at the state level.
Every year.
And and as much as I'd like to speculate on why that is, I won't. But what I think is, as a board, knowing that it was something we have to deal with all the time, we've put our voice towards other issues that affect us. And I would like to, because I don't want to get off agenda too much, but I would like to see if we could have an official discussion about whether or not it would be prudent for us to try to encourage the legislature. So a little quick side note, I think it has to go through Keisha, then the state legislature, then the governor to get anything changed from what I'm hearing. instead of just Keisha make those changes unilaterally. But if we, even if it comes down to a letter or something like that, I would like to see us and maybe our peer schools have a voice in that, because it's, again, it's not, typically this multiplier means that they take their student population, they multiply it by some factor, which tends to put them into a higher A class or
So
whatever.
if that school had a multiplier in Keisha, they might be a 4 or 5.
Right.
Absolutely.
But every state we touch does something. Kansas has refused to take the issue beyond committee for any number of years. And I think it will take districts, especially rural districts, that has a very small draw. They've got 125,000 that they can recruit to whomever they want from, to speak up and say that you as the state's legislator or you as Keisha need to do something about it. So I'm making the request that we do that in the proper way. But it does seem appropriate to bring it up now on the heels and talking about where we go with sports.
So yeah, that's kind of the one. So if you get down to southern Johnson County and into Miami County, it's a Bishop Miege issue in 4A every year. Now this year might be different, but every year you look, we went at, definitely football, but basically everything else too. And it was, deemed an unfair competition. I know those schools have worked with Keisha and have gotten nowhere. Legislature as well. But I definitely can find resources, letters, and verbiage for you to use. So
sure.
Is that the reason why they did not play a JV game down there today?
I don't think so.
No, we either us or them had too many injuries and I don't know players to play JV.
And it's not the only
It
JV
was-
game we haven't played.
Right, we've had several.
So
you
anyway.
preach it to the choir.
Yeah, that's my spiel, but I think, if we have a voice as a district, I think we should use it. So that's it. Thank you.
They had moved back to their 4A for next year, but I'm not sure.
Because those are looked at differently. Football's looked at differently than every other sport, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all the things. Becky? Anything?
Sure.
Brooklyn, anything?
No, we've had some really good meetings with Director West in the 3 months he's been with us, 4 months he's been with us now. And probably some of the most productive meetings, Ian, we've ever had at SPED.
Are you saying that's because I'm not there?
Yeah.
It's fair. It's fair. Yeah.
He's done, I mean, for my humble opinion, my personal humble opinion, I think he's done a very good job, kind of just getting in and figuring things out and a lot of really good communication. New ideas, yes.
Perspective of things.
We started last month, and I don't know if it was him or Amy, but we're going to share the kudos for both of them. An employee recognition program very similar to ours here in USD 415, which I think is amazing for them to take that initiative and start doing that. They're working on rebuilding their Facebook page and rebuilding a website and just really trying to put the interlocal out, back out into the community. He spends a lot of time in all of the buildings. He's doing a lot of training, a lot of mentoring. We had Michelle at our we had a special board meeting where we outlined goals for the first time in a long time for SPED. It was
And that was Michelle Hubbard was there as well.
That search.
Okay. Well, I knew that she's come back since then.
Yeah, came back and facilitated a goal setting meeting where we worked collaboratively as a board with both superintendents and with Director West and put together measurable SMART goals for SPED and for Director West. We hired a school psychologist for the 26-27 school year, which is crazy. We're talking about 26-27. We hired a school psychologist. Still need paras. Lots of paras. We need help with speech. Started doing we did start doing telespeech.
And from what I've talked to people, they don't have the kids that need a lot of help. The people still are speech paths here, they're still in person. And the younger kids, they don't have that, but some of the older third, fourth graders, they have it. And it's going, not ideal, but it's going.
And then negotiations are currently at a standstill in the state.
Oh,
Impasse, yes. They're at an impasse, so.
impasse with the collective, not collective bargaining. What's the word I want to use?
Association.
No, the process or
IBB.
IBB.
Not doing IBB.
Oh, okay. Watch lots of news.
I think I covered it all. I'm looking at the meeting minutes. Did I miss anything, Brooklyn?
Be Paris.
Paras and speech.
So some things don't change.
No, but and that's a lot.
I mean, I think the theme of all the meetings was bringing Paris. It's
Yeah.
getting worse.
Okay.
They'll hire one and then.
We're
it's not
vocally
coming.
gone.
Put it in the truck, or they hire one and then they lose one and it's.
Or lose two, yeah.
Hire one, lose two.
It's just this.
We're always at
Oh, wow.
Or I'm gonna go work for Reg Ed where I get paid more.
We got into that lately?
Not this.
Not this.
Mode, but yeah, we've had that before.
Okay. Executive session.
When you see it.
10 minutes. Okay. They'll do 10 minutes.
I'll move for that. 10 minutes to executive session to discuss non-elected personnel.
Moved and seconded to go to executive session for 10 minutes. All those say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0.
You got my email.
Executive session for 10 minutes. Is there any action?
Yes, I move to approve Bryn Williams as the HM as assistant girls basketball coach for this school year.
Been moved and seconded to approve Bryn Williams, HM as assistant girls basketball coach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0.
I move to approve Dusty Jones as the HHS assistant baseball coach for this school year.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve Dusty Jones as HHS assistant baseball coach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0.
I move to approve Ron Smith as HHS assistant baseball coach for this school year.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve Ron Smith as HHS assistant baseball coach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0.
I move to join.
Nice.
Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed.
You did very well for 2 weeks.
Except here.